Hey guys, All in Crypto here, and welcome back, ladies and gents, for another YouTube video. I hope you've all had a great weekend so far. Today we're going to be delivering our daily cryptocurrency market update. We've got lots of interesting things to share with you in this video. We are indeed going to be diving into Bitcoin, Cardano, which is having a pretty nice morning so far, ETHEREUM, and look at the overall market. Of course, markets generally are quite lackluster. Of course, we've got some pariahs within that like ADA, Terra's doing all right, and a few others. But ultimately, I'm very, very confident this bull run is going to continue. I have personally taken that bet myself. That's why I still hold all my cryptocurrencies. As I think we're very early in the kind of adoption curve that we're on. And we're going to speak about that in this video. This is the S curve. This was posted by Will Clement. Fantastic. Well worth a follow on Twitter, guys, along with myself at Real All in Crypto is my Twitter. Where do you guys think we are on this curve? That's something we're going to be talking about, because I would argue we're still very early within our infancy stage, yet to really see that expansion take place. And this is fundamentally backed, if you look at how many people actually use crypto on a day-to-day basis, in comparison with how many people hold it. And we will be talking about how many people hold it. 23% of Americans own crypto, while 56% own stocks. So there's still a lot of growth to come. We're going to be talking about that. Also, countries around the world continue to move towards crypto, continue to move towards the adoption of crypto. 2021, a year of mass adoption for cryptocurrencies in Brazil. This follows the article that we spoke about yesterday when we said Brazil essentially are allowing their citizens to pay their taxes in BTC and they'll receive a 10% discount, which is huge. If this was the case in the UK, you bet I'd be paying my taxes with BTC. A 10% discount is huge, certainly for somebody like myself. And this is because the Treasury of Brazil essentially want to convert 1% of their overall holdings to crypto. This is a trend we're going to see continuing around the world with other countries, because people are sick and tired of having to use the US dollar as the reserve, because it essentially holds them hostage to the policies of the Federal Reserve, which they often have no control over. And often, even though they have no control over, they get all the negative repercussions. We're seeing that at the moment with a number of countries and their inflation rates. Uruguay reportedly installs its first Bitcoin ATM. And this is another article talking about how we're going to see further adoption in 2022. So let's start. We've got a number of interesting on-chain analytics to go into as well. Markets, like I say, very lackluster. ADA's doing very well, but we did shout that out literally yesterday. This was the draw that we actually had on that I've not changed. And we hadn't even broken this neckline of what I was calling a head and shoulders at the time. So Cardano's doing very well. Bitcoin lackluster, but we've been here before, ladies and gentlemen. We did say there's room for Bitcoin to sort of consolidate in a similar way that it did over here before we get that continuation. But one thing I'm very confident of is we get that continuation. You know, we're very early as a space, and Bitcoin still has a large market cap to capture, given its sort of status as a hedge against inflation, as a store of value, which it's proven to be over time. And I think this is going to continue. We looked at a JP Morgan article that essentially went into the fact, it could have been Morgan Stanley, one of the two, wrote an article, and they were basically saying that they could see Bitcoin eating up a large share of gold's market cap because they're both store of values. And essentially this is something I can see happening. It's why I think they're delaying a Bitcoin spot ETF, because they know, the SEC know, that if they allowed that, you would have it, or it would certainly have negative repercussions for a gold ETF and other sort of silver and et cetera, ETFs. So they're kind of, you know, on this tightrope that they're trying to walk to kind of keep people happy. And ultimately, crypto's somewhat getting a negative repercussion of that due to the fact they've not got a spot ETF yet. But it's coming. It's inevitable. We've got it in loads of other countries. We've got it over in Canada. And, you know, it's only so long they can stall this for. And that's going to see, in my opinion, the green light for that, which we are going to get, is going to see a huge inflow of institutions going, okay, we've got the green light to now invest. And why wouldn't we? Why would we hold cash? We know 5 out of the 6 largest companies in the US have more cash on their balance sheets than debt, which is kind of unusual. I think Apple's the only one that actually has more debt, and Apple's $3 trillion. Remember, our entire market, ladies and gentlemen, is only $2 trillion. So we've got a long way to go. Cardano's doing fantastic. We did set this out for you yesterday. I'm looking for a pullback to enter, but ultimately I think, given the fact that all their dApps are about to turn on and what this has done for other chains, I think, you know, you're heading back, way back above and beyond all-time highs for ADA. Ethereum, somewhat in a bit of a bit stuck for a number of reasons. The development actually on ETH is slowing down. We're seeing more people who want to use ETH and write in Solidity code to actually deploy it on Polygon because it's cheaper, faster, etc., which is a roll-up, or not a roll-up, a layer 2 solution for Ethereum. So these guys are a little bit stuck. I personally am considering getting rid of half of my Ethereum and putting it into another altcoin, Cardano potentially, because it's been I've been in Ethereum for nearly 5 years now. I'm still very bullish and out on their sort of ETH2 prospects because they've got a lot of people already built on top of there. But it's when that rolls around, and I don't think that's anytime soon. And I also think that in terms of a user experience, using ETH is a really bad one, and it's very expensive and really kills off that retail side of growth. So this is something from Willy Woo. 23% of Americans own crypto assets, while 56% own stocks. The former market is 12 years old, while the latter is 203 years old. This is a rising political force. Brilliant. Willy Woo's great. Very humble individual as well, which goes a long way with me, because you've got a lot, certainly on Twitter, a lot of very cocky individuals, and nobody even knows who these guys are. They just know what their Twitter handle is, and that sort of, I think it would be quite a different story if people actually understood who these individuals were. Whereas this guy is very humble, which goes a long way, and what he's essentially saying here is fantastic. Crypto's growing at a far, far faster rate in terms of adoption than the stock market. And we're also seeing it take further adoption than something like the internet and the curve that went on. And that's what we're seeing. And ultimately with the internet, you have this period of growth, steady growth, like we've seen with Bitcoin. And then you have this moment where it just takes off and shoots into the atmosphere. That's coming for crypto. We are going to get to a $10 trillion market cap, in my opinion. And then we're going to go above and beyond it. This is all still to come. And this is why we make videos on a daily basis, even when the price is slumpy, even when people don't want to know about it, because there's a huge opportunity here to change your life. It's investing in crypto has completely changed my life, and it's also changed my family and friends' lives around me through me kind of getting a bit of financial freedom out of it. This is the S-curve, and this sort of dictates where we are in terms of adoption. We are miles off maturity, and I would argue, if anything, we're just coming into the expansion phase. We're not even really there yet because we've not fully completed what we're trying to achieve in terms of what we're building. So I don't even know if we're in the expansion phase yet, but this is hugely bullish in my opinion. It's very, very interesting. I would say if anything, we're in early expansion, and I think that's to be rather. I think that's a safer thing for me to say than saying we're over here. We could still be in the infancy phase. We're yet to see. I don't really think we've even seen any real expansion. I think we're seeing this start to take place. Certainly these articles kind of back that up a little bit. But I still think we've got a hell of a long way to go in this market and as a space. And there's a lot of adoption that comes with that. This is from the 360 Trader, or certainly this is where I got it. He must have retweeted it. It's from Glassnode. Amount of hodlers or lost coins just reached a 1-year high of 7,283,000 BTC. Very, very telling, guys. We also showed you that hodlers or retail is actually now creeping up towards the price and acting as a floor. This bull market, in my opinion, is going to continue. I've been saying that for over a year now, and I understand that some people have vested interests in being bearish because they've already sold and they want the outcome to go in their favor. But ultimately, guys, if you truly understand what's taking place here, there isn't a bearish outlook whatsoever. We've got, the Federal Reserve, or not the Federal Reserve, sorry, the Congress in America are essentially coming together to discuss Bitcoin's energy use or crypto's energy use on the 20th. The fact that we're even getting spoken about in Congress, and that congressional hearing that a lot of the crypto CEOs attended was mind-bending. It was eye-opening. This is the direction that the market's still yet to take. This is another thing from the short-term hodler supply in profit, and you can see this is down there. And this typically has, what I'll do is quickly move my face a little bit, has signaled a bottoming before we see some kind of a resurgence. So you can see that we're kind of at the bottom of this, and ultimately this could lead to continuation, which is our overall view on what's happening. This is an article from Cointelegraph, Altcoin Roundup, 3 ways blockchain technology could further mainstream adoption in 2021, and it goes into a number of ways. The thing is with blockchain, and this is why I'm a lot more bullish on things like Ethereum, Cardano, even Solana, Terra, and Polkadot, and even BNB, because smart contract blockchains that are built for that the use cases for them are endless. The possibilities for them are endless. Smart contracts just essentially eliminate the need for a third party. You can apply that to pretty much anything. And this is where crypto is going. The value that can be captured on these blockchains is unbelievable. And this is what people need to sort of get their head around and kind of come to terms with. Bitcoin, yes, if it captures the store of value side of things, it will do exceptionally well. But in regards to these smart contracts, I think I'm more now leaning, and I'm actually over the past 2 years been more heavily in altcoins than I have Bitcoin, because I think the investment proposition is far, far greater. Yes, Bitcoin will often mitigate a lot of the volatility and has proven itself over time. But I think, we're moving into a new era. Bitcoin being a generation 1 blockchain, Ethereum being a generation 2, and now we have generation 3s. And you're starting to see this get realized with ADA, which of course we called out for you yesterday. Uruguay reportedly installs its first BTC ATM. We're seeing a lot of emerging nations actually move to, or certainly poorer nations move to Bitcoin. Because one reason that some of these nations are as poor as they are is because of the dollar. And because their own currencies just don't stand up against it. Whereas Bitcoin isn't specific to that one country. It's global and dictated by a whole different set of rules. Yes, it is certainly impacted and moved by the dollar, but it's seen a lot more strength against the dollar in regards to some of these currencies. So I think you're going to see countries, that's a mix of countries around the world move towards Bitcoin due to the fact that it's going to hold better against the dollar, against their currencies, and ultimately that's going to enrich the citizens at large. And of course, Brazil moving towards mass adoption, or certainly a year of mass adoption, and they're talking about 2021. The Treasury adding 1% of their, or converting 1% of their overall holdings into, I can't remember if it was BTC or it was crypto, is absolutely huge, and certainly allowing their citizens to pay tax in it. So I don't want to go on for too long, guys. That's really all I have for you in this one. I'm going to love and leave you on that note. Let the ball run continue. I hope you're all having a great time so far, and I'll catch you all in the next YouTube video, guys. If you've enjoyed the content, like us, always appreciated. So is a comment. Hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you in the next one.